Okay, thank you everybody for joining. This is my capstone presentation. It's going to be about the meaningful beauty of animation. So, a little introduction of myself. My name is James Hamamoto. I'm a transfer student, 3 years. I stopped 1 year from due to COVID and came from Leeward Community College. The high school that I graduated from is Hawaii Technology Academy, and the program that I'm studying in is digital media or concentration. I'm just focusing on animation. So basically, the plans I have for the senior capstone is that I make an animation that's about self-growth, self-acceptance, and character development. And the thesis statement that I propose is that animation as a form is a creative expression that can serve as an effective therapeutic tool for personal growth that helps individuals externalize their emotions, process self-acceptance struggles, and also engages in storytelling and healing. So the objective of this is that I wanted to research so I could showcase my animation for this capstone. It will show the progress of self-acceptance, personal growth, and I'll have my characters go through some character development with narrative structures and reception. This research was this research is going to talk about animation as a psychological tool for self-reflection and identity formation. What I wanted to address about the significance of this project is that I wanted to bridge the fields between the animation studies, psychologically, and personal development. So it's going to be talking about its animated story highlights, and so I can demonstrate how my animation can influence people for self-acceptance and personal growth. And as stated before, the thesis statement is animation, and it's a form of creative self-expression, and it can serve as an effective therapeutic tool for personal growth, helping individuals externalize emotions, process self-acceptance, struggles, and engage in healing storytelling. So the rationale for this research is that I want to give the idea of how animated stories foster self-acceptance and personal growth by characters going through some character development, narrative structures, and audience reception. But I wanted to the way I conducted my research is by through ChatGPT and watching some animated films, and so I can see how animation can express self-acceptance, character development, and mental health overall. But some examples that I wanted to say I can't explain through all of the characters on here, but I mentioned Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, Shadow the Hedgehog from the Sonic franchise, Fern from Adventure Time, Peter Parker and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. It's not really cartoon or animation, but it does touch base in self-acceptance and character development. And lastly, Tai Lung for Kung Fu Panda. So I'm fascinated by the expansion of the meaning behind animated films. Is why I wanted to do it in the first place. And I'm very interested in how animation can just make an impact on the audience itself. So what I wanted to deliver in the capstone plan that I had was that I wanted to make an animation starring Sonic the Hedgehog as the main character. He's grieving over his friends by a mistake that he did in the past that ended the life of Tails and Amy Rose as one of his best friends. So the three main characters is Sonic, Shadow, and Knuckles as they embark on a journey to find the bodies of Tails and Amy before they rot. So they're trying to bring them back to life and undo Sonic's mistake by using the power of the Chaos Emeralds, in which only Knuckles can do. But during that process, they'll be facing through a lot of challenges, enemies, and the enemies that I'll show later on. They represent the seven deadly sins. They're not going to say it out loud as they are seven deadly sins. they're just represented as they are with different names. But while doing so, Sonic faces five stages of grief during the process while he fights them. Maybe not actively, but internally, he'll be going through these stages. And while doing so, specifically, he questions his existence, his purpose, his self confidence, his self esteem. But in the end, he finds his closure by his support group, which is only Shadow and Knuckles. So I made these posters. This is Sonic, this is Shadow, this is Knuckles, and down here are the characters that they will be have to be fighting against as represented as the seven deadly sins. And next we'll be talking about the significance of my project. So I want what I thought is that animation is an amazing way to discuss complex topics in various digestible ways, especially those for those who are struggle in mental health or struggle with anxiety. Films like Inside Out, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, or Kung Fu Panda 2. The animation I want to say is that it shows a big impact on self-esteem and mental health. And the purpose that I'm trying to say is that it shows how animation is a good therapeutic tool and it can teach us about how animated storytelling can be used in art therapy, self-reflection exercises, and personal development programs. In addition, I want to be a good influence on how filmmakers and animators, well, how filmmakers and animators are influenced and how they could use this research to create more emotionally impactful and psychologically resonant stories that promote self-acceptance. So it will be served within an educational purpose as the animation incorporates other things like self-identity, personal growth, and emotional resilience. This is not a lot of data, but I'll have two examples that I think are very meaningful in this study. So on the left is the study of the estimate gross in the marketing with animated films. We are in 2025, and as you can see, animation starts getting more and more popular over the years. And something as we're talking about self-acceptance and character development and personal growth, I apologize for the blurriness, but this is a screenshot of all of the most popular movies right now in the United States. Inside Out 2 is becoming, well, has won to be one of the most grossing animated feature films, which Inside Out is about Riley is the character who goes through puberty and is struggling through her own mental health, and it just touches bases on most personal growth and self-acceptance and self-identity of who she is with many other emotions besides just anger, sadness, disgust. So the target audience that I think that is more focused on in terms of the project that I'm producing is more for mature audiences. I was gonna say children and young adults, but for this one that I'm trying to animate, it has minor gore, so I don't think, it's gonna be fit with children a little bit, but not a lot. And there's gonna be a lot of intense violence in this animation, and with mildly strong language, not no F bombs or anything, but just mild language. As an example, the intense violence as you see is like the example on the bottom right, just with shadows throwing a missile POV, and as Puss in Boots is mildly blood. It's gonna be my animation is gonna have something like this, which is just tiny bit of blood shown, but not like Mortal Kombat blood explosions and all that. So I proposed the solution is that I wanted to convey that animation can ex- has the ability to express emotions, while its audience to feel heard about their own issues in which they may have not been addressed with their parents, their family, or their close friends. But the animation films and the series are designed with those intellectual themes as more touch based on self acceptance and resilience. And it also touch it's a good educational lesson by using animation, a good teaching tool for self growth and emotional development. I want therapists and counselors to interrogate or dissect that. Yes, animated storytelling, it's good. It really goes into mental health practices. It's a good way. Animators and media creators can also receive and take an influence in this, as the guidelines on crafting authentic and diverse storytelling can make an impact in the audience positively. But in the long run, what it can do is that it increase self-awareness, emotional resilience in the audience for young viewers to gain better self-acceptance within themselves, and it'll be a stronger representation in the media. So, as mentioned before, it wanted to be a good positive impact upon the world. And with that, it'll be more diverse and more psychologically informed by the characters that will be shown on screen, whether it's the main character or the villains or the side characters. It's going to be in the animation as it exclusively, and it's empowerment. But um, in the broader sense, the use of animation and in the education and therapy is that the animated storytelling becomes an established tool for self-reflection, therapy, and good learning tool. So how I prepared about this is that I will write 10 episodes, 10 scripts for 10 episodes in an animation series, which will conduct to be in 5 to 8 minutes long. There will be a music soundtrack for honorable moments, like in important scenes, like the fight scenes and the dialogue, romantic scenes. And I will build the backgrounds. I built the backgrounds by sketching it out first, and then I will digitally put it all together like a puzzle piece. That goes with the character rigging that I already have. I've already modeled my own characters already. And then I have my own sound pack for any hit sound effects, punching effects, machines, explosions, magic sounds, atmospheric sounds like birds chirping in the background. But it will be all coming from the sound resource. If not in the least, it will be YouTube. And after that, what I'll be doing is that I'm going to be separating in scenes in different animation files. That way, as backup, it often crashes in some scenes that I animate. It has a hard time rendering longer animations more than like 5 minutes long. So I usually want to separate them up. If not, I'll double or triple the backup files just in case. All I have to do is Control A multiple times to prevent from any crashes or not loose, but lost progress. And after, I'll be making the speech bubbles and text. And the speech bubbles is going to be similar to like how Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Heart Gold is going to be like. On the top of the screen, we'll have the text dialogue, or people who play Undertale, there's some dialogue that's typing on the top, and the characters are not going to be saying verbally in what's going on. It's up to the audience to just read it all on the screen themselves. And I'll make sure that it's not going to be too short that the audience can't read fast enough. And then more so, I will open up my sprite sheets, which is like the characters that I help rig while I animate, which is going to be used by Paint.net. And the program that I use to animate is Adobe Flash. And for those connections that I use between Paint.net and Adobe Flash, is that I'm able to transfer the character models onto Flash CS6, so then I can just animate them right on site. The rigging is going to be also animated on there, but I'll have to like separate their body limbs off of Paint.net, like their arms, their head, their mouths, their feet, their legs. But while I'm animating doing so, on the other screen, I'll have the script open up to keep track of what scene I'm at, which line are they at when they're talking. Uh, and as stated before, I will make multiple copies as it does crash a lot. But I've already have my own templates, my own sound pack, and it will it will be a much more faster progress when I do animate. All I have to do is save as the same file, put in the same background, same characters, so it makes a lot more time faster. Then yes, I'll just animate the characters, and afterwards, I'll just add the additional effects like explosions, hit sparks, the graphics, the impact frames, and then the effects comes afterwards. And then I'll add the background after all those three things are done. I'll never add the backgrounds after the characters because the backgrounds is usually what it causes the file to crash in the first place. So that usually comes last. And then after, I'll render the raw file of the animation itself by compiling each video file into After Effects 2019. And I'll use the speech bubbles on top of the raw animation with text as like how Pokemon Diamond would do it, would just have the text up on the top while the animation's running. And after I compile all of the files together like a puzzle piece, I'm going to convert that into an MP3 4 file by using Media Encoder 2019. And when I do so, I'll upload it everything on YouTube with a custom thumbnail and a description. So what I'm trying to deliver with this series is that it touched space about redemption, personal growth, the 5 stages of grief, the grieving over loss of characters, and it talks about the value of true companionship and the facing fears instead of running away from them. So I thought of some possible questions that you guys might have. I don't know if this is necessary, but I'd like to restate in my oops, I'm so sorry. Okay, so as some of you may be thinking, where did I get my sound effects? I'll be using Sound Resource, which is copyright free. It has all the sound effects that are from like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Smash Ultimate. So I'll be using from there, extracting those files onto my desktop. And is this all of it copyright? Is this okay? It is, because there are some gaming companies like Nintendo, they're not okay with it. As long as you get it approved, if you're going to make money off of it. I've also worked with Warner Brothers and their YouTube channel. It's called Death Battle. I've worked with them for 2 years. I've worked on Tanjiro versus Jonathan. It was trending on #3 on YouTube. And so is Trunks versus Silver. These are copyrighted characters. I don't know how they get their approval from them. I think they would just ask, the owners if they're okay just publishing this on their YouTube channel. But I won't be making money off of this project. And since it's not Nintendo, it's okay. If it was a Nintendo character like Mario, then yes, it'll be doxxed. As my animation style is similar to this series. It's called Super Mario Bros. Z, which is the start of the sprite animation. This is what started sprite animation, but unfortunately, it was canceled within this series because the author has made money off of it, and Nintendo heard about its popularity, and that the animator was making money off of it, so it was not okay. But why did it have to be Sonic the Hedgehog? Well, he's impatient, he's naive, he's loyal to his friends, he's adventurous, he thrives to be free, and he seeks injustice and protecting the weak. With that type of character, I wanted to really see what are his weaknesses when it comes to, how much psychological torment can he take, and I'll be giving him a lot more realistic issues like anxiety, trauma. How can he overcome those stages? And he'll be facing through those like the 5 stages of grief with the foes that he'll be facing. And the other questions that maybe I would like to answer you guys if you had any is that would I incorporate how would I incorporate the emotions, the self acceptance, and the character development and animation in this is that I'll be animating them through their facial expressions, their body language, the color and lighting and symbolic visuals and their environment changes. For example, the middle picture is baby Tai Long, as Tai Long's main character is about revenge and vengeance. It's always going to have in dark color schemes, but since this is a flashback, it's in a more warm color orange graphic, which symbolizes his time when he did feel safe. Or on the bottom left, which is a Down the Dawn anime episode where the main character is facing through and a foe that symbolizes about love. So it's gonna be in a pink overlay during the fight scene, or on the right panel, which is the Puss in Boots movie, is Death and Puss fighting off with each other. In this scene, he does scratch Puss and he makes him bleed, which is why they had to have a lot more red and black in the background symbolizing blood. I like to incorporate that. But through my animation, mostly is that I wanted to have the characters' body language and actions speak for themselves rather than expressing verbally. They will be speaking their problems verbally, but not as much. I wanted their actions to speak for what they're going through. But
James,
for the copyrights,
hi, James. I just wanted to interrupt you. You got 5 minutes left for questioning, so I don't know if you want to wrap it up, but
oh,
we want to let you know what our questions are.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But yes, the music. The last thing is that for the music rights, I'll be getting from the YouTube Music. I'll just copy, paste it into a converter, and I'll export it and put it on my raw footage. But thank you guys so much for your time. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.